Hi gorgeous girls, how are you? I'm Adele Stickland, your gorgeous coach. I specialise in nutrition, exercise and your gorgeous mindset, unblocking your health blocks. So one of the health blocks that I speak to and find out from other gorgeous women is these myths, these health myths, food myths if you like, that you have. Food myths that are holding you back, that are simply not true anymore. So which old-fashioned, out-of-date food myth do you have? Well, I'll give you an example of mine. I went along in my 20s to a highly recognised diet company, and they told me that I should never ever eat cheese. Never eat cheese. I haven't eaten cheese for 25 years because of something that I was told in one of these diet clubs. So I had that food myth for a long time before I became educated and understood why that was there and what it actually meant for me. So what food myths do you have? Is it eggs? Are you terrified of eggs? I hope not anymore. Or maybe you're terrified like me of cheese. You're terrified of cheese because of its fat content. Maybe dairy is going to block your nose, or even worse, kill you. Maybe meat, especially red meat, is your devil. What is it? What is your food myth? Or maybe you're really concerned about animals and your love for them and how they're being mistreated. Well, these are all incredibly valuable reasons and rationales for looking at what you eat and why you eat it. And these concerns may well be well-founded. However, fear marketing is not. Fear marketing is not helpful. It makes you confused. It worries you. It becomes scary. Now, I have been working in the health industry for 25 years. Don't look too close. So for a long time. And I know all the trends that have come up and gone. And I know that the current trend is now diversifying into two threads. We have the paleo thread going one way, obsession about meat and protein, and we have the vegan thread going the other way. Both, interestingly, are moving away from what was traditionally described as the healthy heart diet, the Mediterranean diet. So that diet was very focused on olive oil, fresh veg, all great, loads of tomatoes, you noticed that? Lots of tomatoes, but also bread and pasta. So this Mediterranean diet is what is being pushed forward as the healthy way to go. And that's fine. That again in itself is fine. But when you understand nutrition and you understand yourself a little bit better, you can make adaptations. But, the shift in nutrition since the 1950s is massive. We are now way more educated than we were in the 1950s, but we're still left with some science hangovers. If you listen to nutritionalists that have gone through all the old exercises, all the old research that has been there, you'll find that they have meticulously investigated things and come up with very, very different reasons. However, the industry and the media have made us fearful. We are fear of what we're eating. And in the last 40 years, our old beliefs have changed. But it's difficult to make those changes because of our old thinking. So here are 5 myths that I want you to reconsider. For instance, myth 1. If you eat high-fat food, you will die of a heart attack. Myth number 1. Now, the industry has created low fat, a huge industry which involves lots of foods, lots of processed foods that are based on low fat. Low fat generally means high sugar. So if you're hanging onto the fact that high fat is going to cause you a heart attack, I am asking you to rethink that theory, okay? Because low fat is not the answer. Myth number 2, too much protein, especially red meat, is very unhealthy for you. Well, how can that be possible? How can too much protein be unhealthy for you? Protein is the building block of life. Without protein, you cannot function. Your cells cannot re-establish themselves. You can't regenerate cells. You can't move. You need protein. Now, whether you get protein from animal products or you get them from vegan sources, i.e. you get your protein from your vegetables, that's fine. But you need protein, okay? So myth number 2, too much protein is not healthy. Myth number 3, a balanced diet. I hear this all the time. Everything in moderation. Well, everything is difficult to get in moderation if you can't decide what balance is. And that isn't your fault. We have been told that carbs, protein and a slither of fat is a balanced diet. But to be honest, nutritionalists have never ever agreed on the percentages of those. So a balance doesn't really make sense. The guidelines are changing. And the truth behind balance is generally to eat more veg, not to eat more processed carbs. More veg and less processed carbs. Don't use carbs in the same traditional way that you've been using them and call that a balanced diet, because it's not balanced, okay? You need carbs. You need carbs on a cellular level, especially after exercise. After exercise, you need glucose, which is the broken down carbohydrate content, to drive protein into your muscle. So you do need carbs, but you don't need processed carbs. You can get your carbs from your veg. So a balanced diet in its traditional sense, when you see the plate and you've got carbs on it, is not the way forward. Myth number 3, busted. Myth number 4, it's your fault. You can control your eating. Just shut the fridge. That is not helpful, and that is not truthful, and it is nasty. It doesn't help your gorgeous mindset. If you want to stay focused and happy, don't keep telling yourself off, and don't listen to those proponents that tell you to shut the fridge. It's not your fault. You have been guided. You have been guided to eat food that is going to keep you hungry. It's going to keep your cycle of glucose and insulin going on all day, simply because you have been guided that high carb is going to be less calories. Myth number 4, busted. It's not your fault. You have been guided incorrectly to eat food that is low calorie but doesn't satiate you and keeps you hungry all the time. Myth number 5, count calories and don't eat too much. Count calories? That is old school. Who has the time to sit down and work out the grams of food? Certainly not me, and certainly not you if you want to stay sane. I just think it's something to keep nutritionalists in a job. It's a calculation you don't need to add to your life. Okay, that might be a little bit harsh. On some occasions it may benefit you, but on the whole you don't need it. You need simple habits. If you've got nutritional habits that we can all stick to, then that is the basis for everything you do. And after that, you can add in little individual things that will help your day and help your life. Your nutritional requirements are going to be based on so many different things. They're going to be based on how much exercise you do, how stressed you are, and how bad your posture has been that day. So your calorie intake is going to vary. And if you're spending time measuring stuff, it's just not worth it. Don't do it. Nutrition isn't complicated. It is simple. There are simple principles that you can use, and then you tweak it once you have the principles in place. I am all about understanding your body, understanding your mindset, and understanding exercise, why you're doing it. And once you've got that understanding, once you've got that education, it falls into place. It is easy. It is not hard. We have created this fear marketing around nutrition to make it appear hard, to make it appear complex, but it isn't. Do you trust me? If you want a session with me, please click the link on the video, in the blog, and apply for your personalised session. We will come up with a game plan, you and I. We will find out what is holding you back, what food myths you've been holding on to, what fears you've been holding on to. They may be practical and therefore easy to solve, or they may be deeper. It's fine. It's all good. Bring it with you. We'll chat about it. Now let me finish with this quote, and I've written it down because I don't want to misquote him. Mark Hyman, MD. We are living in an extraordinary time in medicine. People who provided health in the past, like doctors, aren't going to be the people who create health in the future. These are going to be health coaches. I like that quote, funnily enough. So, sort out your health, sort out your nutrition, sort out your mindset, and sort out exercise. Apply for a session with me. I want to know right now, what are your food myths? What have you held on to for the last 20 years? Write it down. Or it could be the last year. What have you can't ever go near a red pepper because it's inflammatory. Write it down. Write down your food myths at the bottom of this, and I'll read them and I will send you my comments. Speak to you soon. Bye.